see me. Be big sad if I'm not actually live. No, it says I'm good on my end. They were in 2008. They were giving out loans to animals and deceased relatives, and just like it was the ninja loans, no income, no job loans. Let's go, Dream. You're here with us. Let's go. And that's just not what's happening right now, at least not in the United States. So while shelter is probably going to soften, I wouldn't expect some kind of '08 crash again. That's very, very rare, like every 50 years type rare. We see medical care still holding strong, 4.7. Vehicle market is really, I mean, the vehicle market was insanely hot. I'm glad that it's been coming down for a while. And then you'll see that volatile energy. So fuel oil down 21% year over year. Utility gas services down almost 16%. These are substantial moves. If you go to fill up your gas tank, you'll see that at least where I'm at, gas is sub $3 a gallon again, which is really exciting. Really exciting. Seeing a two in front of it, that psychological impact gets people just like it feels like they got more money in their wallet despite maybe not actually having more money. What we have to pay attention to though is the implications of the CPI report. Yes, some of your bags might be pumping. Yes, the dollar is coming down. Yes, the stock market is going pretty aggressively up. I think S&P is up like 1% right now. But we need to look at the yields. I like looking at the yields. I guess you don't need to, but I like looking at them. When you look at it, remember that 2 month yield is one of the most important ones to look at. Well, it is just one of the yields that you should be paying attention to. There's you also got to look at the 3 month and the 2 year and the 10 year and the 30 year. All like, look at whatever you want. But the yield curve, you see the 2 month is going up in yield, meaning people are dumping the 2 year or the 2 month. Everything else is going down in yield, meaning people are buying into the long duration bonds, which means that uninversion is no longer happening as aggressively. Essentially, they've kicked the can down the road a little bit longer here. The longer we stay inverted in the yield curve, then the longer they can avoid a potential recession. Remember that recession comes as the yield curve uninverts. So as the short duration bonds stop yielding more than the long duration bonds, see how all these up here, all the way to the 1 year are yielding 5% on the year, and then everything from the 2 year to the 30 year are yielding sub 5%. When that inverts, goes back to normal, that process is usually indicative of a recession. So the longer that we can avoid that, the longer we avoid the recession. The Fed rates, I was very much expecting this to be a stronger consensus that we were not going to get a rate hike, but there's 4 weeks left until this next rate hike decision. And so it's happening on December 13th. So it's literally a month from now. There's a lot of things that could happen. So the market understands that, and only about 80% believe that we will not have a rate hike. 20% believe that there is a possibility we have a rate hike. That is not set in stone until this is like well above 90%, I believe, or 85% or something like that. Let's do some trading. Enough about that stuff. Enough about that stuff. If you like that stuff, let me know in the comments right now. I'm very curious. How many of you guys appreciate going over some of the CPI information? We can do a deeper dive, but then we start getting nerdy, and I know that I'm one of the only people that I know who enjoys getting nerdy like that, so I don't want to bore everyone. We can get into what everyone's really here for is that trading. Let's get into some of that trading. Knowing that the dollar is bearish again, we have a slight bullish bias here. So let's go see how everything is moving in the crypto markets. Low-key, I was hoping that we continued to dump here because I think 4 days ago, so on this candle right here, I tweeted out saying like, "Hey, look at the money flow of crypto, like take some profits if you want. I'm taking profits and I'm like 35% cash right now." I was really hoping that this marks a local top and then in like a week or two I can retweet myself and be like, "Hmm, hmm," because it's people just love that. Like people just love seeing when others are correct with calling it out, especially from trying to grow an audience. You gotta boast a little bit. It's not really in my nature, but you really just gotta do it anyways. I got no sleep last night. No sleep last night. Thank God for stimulants. Got some coffee in me, and we're chilling. We're good. Yeah, so Bitcoin, let's just skim through some of the ones that we watch, some of the cryptos that we watch, and see if there's a good trading setup. I'll alert it in the Discord. Welcome. Like, a lot of you guys just joined the Discord, so shout out all you new members in there. Everyone's coming over from Crypto Night. Let's go. I thought everyone was a bot at first when I saw how many people were joining the server, and then I noticed that like no, everyone was just coming over from Crypto Night, so that made me excited. I don't know that we'll have anything that's really a great trading setup today, which is unfortunate, but maybe we can try and fudge something so that we can take a trade since we're live, we're chilling here. Everything's kind of moving in unison here. If you really look at it, look at that Bitcoin graph, right? You see we started at the lows of yesterday and we chopped around for a little bit, started forming on top of the VWAP and then broke below it for a big dip, and now we're back above the VWAP. If you were to take this, I wish there was a rolling period VWAP. I'm sure there is. I just need to find it. If you were to take this and extend it out, probably look something like that. I'm sure it's converged at this point or about to converge with the current day VWAP that's on the chart here. That kind of shows you a continuation of yesterday's downward momentum. So leaning a little bit bearish. If we can find something that's currently trending below the VWAP, that would be appreciative. Solana is strong. Solana is continuing to just stay strong, but you kind of see that aside from Matic, you see that very similar pattern across all of the cryptos. We see that dip a couple hours ago where everything broke below. I could see shorting XRP, not gonna lie. If we wanted to fudge some stuff and get a good trade in here, I feel like XRP would be the move. Take a nice 10, probably like 5 to 10x short for a 1% move on XRP because everything else looks a little bit stronger than that. Let's go. 3 concurrent viewers. Let's go, guys. Let's go. Get excited. Get excited. We're here. We're bright and early. 9:30. The market's opening in 1 minute. Come on. Come on. I need an air horn. I need to just blast an air horn into there. We're seeing, at least on quant here, we're low-key seeing a double top forming. You see that scoop, scoop. I'm leaning bearish. I'm absolutely leaning bearish. I don't know. I don't want to get wrecked. Like, I was bearish back here too, and I got liquidated on, not liquidated, but I got stopped out on a lot of the shorts that I had open, so I don't want to let my bias take control again. That was a big mistake that I made there. I was too aggressively short. Now, the portfolio challenge, let's go to coin market cap. That was net long. That still is net long because that's not a day trading thing or a swing trading thing. I'm looking to like take $500 and turn it into a down payment for a house. So I can't be affording to just like mess around in there. I have to make sure that what I'm doing makes sense. I hate that I have to go into a large screen. Come on, here we go. Do I really click on watch lists? Portfolio. Yeah, you can see it's not like this portfolio got wrecked when everything started pumping. This portfolio pumped with everything. It's up over 50% in the last month. So this portfolio is doing really well. Again, I was net long here. I was just shorting for some swing trades. It's kind of risky. Don't know what big money will do. I don't know if they will bull trap or bear trap. Yeah. The thing is, nobody really knows. Nobody really knows, Dream. You just got to trade with what kind of sentiment you're getting from the market. You got to trade with whatever direction it's headed in that day or in that week or whatever's going on in the current market because things can change up on a dime. That's why, though, I like the VWAP because the VWAP very much so tells you the direction that the market is headed in that given day. That's how yesterday we were so evidently bearish that it was easy to take a couple trades here. I didn't get every trade that was set up here. I was in, I wanted Aptos. We were gonna get that trade on the live right here, but we didn't end up getting it. That would have been a nice move. That in total, that was a 3.99% move. We would have grabbed our 1 or 2% that we usually do and then locked in those profits. We didn't do that one, but we did get the next move and I locked in a 2% gain. And then we could have done it again next time it went up to the VWAP. So yesterday was a perfect day to be trading on my strategy here. Today, because we're not in a clear direction, we're chopping straight through it. It's not as perfect for me. With that being said, you bring up a good point, though. We don't know what the market makers are going to do. We do have an inclination of what they could end up doing thanks to heat maps like this, the liquidation zones. And if my Wi-Fi will load appropriately, we can pause this and see a more accurate view. So up here is still loading at the top, this gray or this blacked out box, which is unfortunate. Let's see if it'll load anything. Otherwise, I might refresh this page. Probably have to watch an ad now. Yep, there it is.
Oh no. Oh no.
YouTube Premium. There we go. Okay. So I know this is super confusing. We're only going to look at the left side here or the top up here. The top in this blacked out box. These are the only areas you need to pay attention to right now. They are showing you where the liquidity is in the market. So on the left here, you see a larger time frame. Up at the top here, you see a minute by minute time frame essentially. So the larger these pillars are, the more liquidity is either above or below that area. And we generally know that because the market makers make their money off of grabbing liquidity and filling orders, they're going to naturally just bring the price of whatever asset that is towards the liquidity. And that's just how markets tend to trend. Is it manipulation? I'm sure there is some amount of manipulation in there. Being able to see all of the leveraged positions is like that's just how they make their money, so it's going to happen. But it's also just the natural order of the markets. It goes where the liquidity is because that's where the most demand to buy or sell that asset is. That's how markets function. So this morning, literally 10 minutes ago, most of the liquidity was above this current level for Bitcoin. So it's sitting at $36,589 according to this map here. And most of the liquidity was between 36,500 and 36,000 36,957 in between these two areas. There was no liquidity on the downside. It was all above, which led me to believe that we were going to push up pretty aggressively for Bitcoin. Right now, we're starting to see some more liquidity appear below the current price. So it's kind of a 50-50 here. These spikes up here are a lot higher, meaning there's more in this tight region, but this region's a lot longer, which means it really could go either way right now in this given moment. If you look at kind of the longer time frame, a very similar story is being played out. Anywhere between this 38,000 level has a lot of liquidity here. Each of these bold yellow bars there are presumably like a key levels of support or resistance where people are kind of putting stop losses or buy orders if we can break through. And same thing on the downside. If we break 36,000, we're probably going straight down to whatever level this is, which is probably like 35,900, and then just 35,000 flat has another large area of liquidation. So really, the market is a coin toss right now. I don't see any clear decisive moves up or down according to the liquidation zones. So, did that make sense, guys? Let me know if you like that. Put a Just say yes or no in the chat right now. I was gonna say put a one in the chat, but there's like three of you guys in here, so let me know. If you go to Bitcoin. No, I was gonna say we could see the move since the meeting this morning, but the meeting was a couple minutes ago. Yes, but I'm rewatching later. Nice. Thank you for being here, Dream. If you guys like this, hit that like button, subscribe, turn on notification bell. We're here Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, to trade the market, grab our liquidity, learn how to invest. according to market sentiment and market direction. Thank you, Sawyer. I gotta hide the VWAP here for a minute. So this is Bitcoin on the hourly. You can see we had a very strong trend line when we were just chopping straight up after that initial pump. So maybe it's worth extending that trend line to see if we do have a retracement back down here over the next couple days. I like overlaying the bar patterns. So maybe if we saw something like a bleed like this, where we come back down and retest this trend line again, since it's been pretty strong in recent weeks, in recent days, it's been a pretty strong trend line. So maybe we continue to see a bleed out come the end of the month or so, come midway through the month, like November 16th. I guess that's 2 days from now. Damn. In the next like couple days, we might see a retest back down of that 35.5 area, 35,500 or 35,600. So a small pullback. Realistically, that's not a pullback at all. That's just a retest. That's just a confirmation of higher support levels, right? We need to have these pullbacks so that we can accumulate more data, accumulate more liquidations and just activity happening at these prices. That's how you solidify higher prices. You trade in them for a good period of time. When you do not trade in higher prices for a long period of time, for example, back here when we just sprinted through every single level on Bitcoin all through the end of 2020 and into 2021. There was no, we didn't build out any support back here. So next time we visited, we had to build out that support. We had no idea where we were going to bottom out at because there was no support. If you kind of look at it, you'll see we ended up bottoming out at a previous top and a previous resistance area, an area of contention, as I call it. So when you just rocket straight up without any retracements, it's not as comforting as when you get those stair step patterns. Like this, what's happening this year so far with Bitcoin, where we bottomed out, came up, came down, retested, had another pump, kind of chopped around for a while as we came down, and then another pump. Like this stair stepping pattern that we're seeing is very healthy in a market. Then if we could get a nice pullback, maybe retest that $30,000 area, if we're being completely honest. I know people aren't going to like to see that, but that would be a healthy pullback in the market. We could then confirm that an area of contention in the market does exist around that $30,000 area. We got rejected from it twice and low key 3 times. So if we could come build it support, then everyone has the confidence to watch this thing continue to rally onwards. I can't wait to get back to my computer because my computer at home has a lot of the charting that I had done months, if not years ago at this point. I think back a year and a half ago, I drew a circle right around $40,000 at the halving, plus or minus $10,000 at the time because I didn't know where we would be. I drew it literally like 2 years before the halving, saying that we'd probably be somewhere around 40,000 come the halving. We're a couple months out, so unless there's a massive shift in the market before the halving, which is happening um, March, I guess. I thought it was May, but it's happening spring of next year, Q1, Q2. Like we'll be right in that circle that I had drawn, which is pretty lit. I also on a TikTok live once when we were like way down here. I think we were still crashing around the time FTX. I kind of just did this. I was like, this is what's going to happen. And I did a chart like that. And it's actually playing out almost perfectly. So I can't wait to get back and probably make a video on it just to, again, the unfortunate reality is that I have to brag a little bit. Otherwise, I don't get anyone's attention. If you don't brag about your winners, you don't get anyone's attention. And then you got to make sure you show your losses as well, though, because you got to keep it real. People got to know they can trust you to show the good and the bad. I'm kind of rambling, so I might wrap this up. If you guys have questions, now would be the appropriate time to ask. Because again, don't really see any good trading opportunities. Nothing that fits my narrative. I would be watching for some kind of a short on Bitcoin, especially where we had that CPI news and it really didn't, we didn't see the pump. We just didn't. Not like the stock market. The stock market loved that news. You got to remember these moves are a lot less than in Bitcoin. Like this was a 1.5% move in the stock market. That is enormous. That is a very large gap up. The Nasdaq, look at that. The stock market got a little hard on for this CPI data. Yeah, look at that. It's almost completely broken us out of this dip that we had. Probably early next year, probably in the next 2 months, we'll be testing all-time highs again on the Nasdaq, which is insane. Insane. How long has it been since we were making all-time highs? 721 days ago is when the stock market peaked out, the Nasdaq. That is a long time. Literally 2 years ago. We've had 2 years of not making higher highs in the stock market. So if your portfolio is down over 2 years, don't feel that bad about it. Like, really don't feel that bad about it. When the traditional financial market hasn't put in higher highs in 2 years, likely well over 2 years by the time we actually reach it, because we're getting eerily close, but we're still 6.5% away. You got to remember, in the stock market, like it averages about 6, 7% yearly. So we are still technically an entire year away from hitting those all-time highs if you want to play it out by historical averages. I don't think it'll take that long at all, but cash out those government bonds. I would not cash out a bond right now if you got it. Hold that thing till duration. Bonds are literally worthless right now. The yields are high. I would toy with the idea of buying one. But if you have been holding on to a bond for any amount of time, I mean, I guess I can't give you personal financial advice, so you do what you want with it, but right now would be historically the worst point in years to sell that thing. Look at that. Yeah, we haven't been this low since 2011 on the bonds on TLT, so that's long duration bonds. I think we can go look at Shy. I think yeah, Shy is short duration. That's just as bad. War protests. Yeah, yeah. They're storming, or I don't want to say storming because it gives the wrong impression, but they're protesting at DC, I think tomorrow, is it? Tomorrow or the next day, their pro-Palestine movement is going to DC to try and just rally and get attention and make it so that their voices are heard. Depends on what your goals are. Mine is ending the genocide. It's a nice goal. If we could end genocide, I support that. I support ending genocide. Yeah, the markets, like I want to call the markets interesting, but they're really just doing the same thing that they've been doing for a while. It seems as if traditional markets and really Bitcoin is like gotten accustomed to this weird interest rate environment that we're in. Doesn't seem like any of this stuff shocks them anymore. Maybe we can get the yield curve actually up. I gotta get the 2-10 year spread. Yeah. So we were this from here from 7-3 until, I mean, even right now is still in the play, but until about the end of last month, we were rapidly uninverting for the yield curve, and so that was showing signs that we were about to hit a recession. This last recent economic data showing how strong the economy still is inverting us again, which inverting, like the inversion shows that we're in an unhealthy macro economy, but it's the uninversion that you need to pay attention to. Don't forget that. I've been pounding the drums on that for so long now. Since literally before we inverted, I've been pounding the drums on that. It's the uninversion that triggers or allows you to know that we're in a recession. Being inverted just means that we're sick, but we haven't actually started throwing up yet. We're just like not feeling too good. Our stomach's a little queasy. Your stomach can be queasy for a very long time before you throw up, and sometimes you don't even throw up. So we'll see if they can pull off a soft landing. I wouldn't bet the house on it. Cool, then cut up all those plastic cards and exit government bonds. Oh God. Yeah, your time. I'm sorry we couldn't grab a trade with it. I am sorry we did not grab a trade today, but your time is your most valuable asset. Hopefully this was worth investing into. I had a good time. Hit network, 10 out of 10. Highly recommend if you get the chance to come here, you take it up. They're some of the nicest people, genuinely some of the nicest people that I've met. So Boycott, you should check out my TikTok page. Low-key, I got some dope content there that I think you might appreciate. But that investor out. Enjoy your Tuesday, guys. If I do take a trade, I will keep you guys posted in the Discord, but I might not have time for it.